Welcome back to Lunatic Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Lori Lothian, and I'm going to talk a bit about how you can avoid becoming ill with this virus that we're all dealing with right now in this time of pandemic based on your sign. Ideally on your rising sign. So I suggest you find that, but you can use your sun and moon sign. What I'm going to be talking about is this new moon and how the asteroid Hygieia is relating in a sextile to it, and Hygieia, hygiene, as well as all health protocols, is going to fall in each person's chart in a different part of the 12 slices of the pie. And that will give you a prescription. If you want to wait, if you want to listen to me for a little while until I get to each sign, go ahead. You can do that because I want to also talk about Apollo and Panacea and Coronis. These are asteroids that are also telling a tale with our new moon on the 24th of March at 4 degrees of the zodiac in the sign of Aries. Now, a lot of astrologers are talking about the warrior moon and how it's conjunct Chiron, and this is a healing moon and it's a healing warrior. Yeah, it is. It is all of those things. This new moon is also conjunct the asteroid Salacia, like salacious information. And that's to be investigated, I think. I mean, it's a pretty close conjunction. What is this? Dwarf planet is probably a better name for it. Salacia? Well, Salacia was a sea nymph type thing, and she was actually courted by Neptune, the god of the sea. Now, astrologers actually believe that Neptune is one of the gods associated with viral illness. And in the myth of Salacia, she hid deep under the ocean away from Neptune. So she's underground, undercover, hiding out. And this is a new moon in which the light of the sun is no longer being reflected by the moon. So there's something hidden below the surface of this Roman goddess of the salt waters. And eventually, though, she surfaced kind of thing and was courted by Neptune, married him, and they lived as a king and queen of the sea happily ever after. And she was in charge then of the calm waters, not the roiling turmoil waters of the gale force that Neptune was known for, but rather the calm and clear waters of the sea. So there's a sense that this moon is going to bring us some kind of calming and clear waters as the 30 days progress from this particular new moon on the 24th of March. Now, I also want to talk about another variable, and that is that there is Panacea in this narrative. I did a video in January on the 31st about the role of the goddess Panacea, the asteroid in this case, representing the cure-all. Now, around the 27th or so of February, Panacea, I think, was opposing either Cronus or Apollo. Apollo, the god of plagues, Cronus, a sound-alike name for this virus asteroid. And I think I sort of suspected that maybe there would be a breakthrough Panacea, but Panacea is going retrograde. And the only thing that came out in late February were studies in China starting to point toward the use of vitamin C, IV vitamin C in critical care for people who were really desperately ill, needing ventilators, etc. So that still holds, by the way. More and more people are finally discovering that vitamin C could actually be a panacea for COVID, both preventatively and restoratively and curatively. That aside, Panacea is still retrograde. So she can't really use her powers to help the collective fully yet, but she will go direct. And I've said this before, around March the 27th or 28th, and that will be a turning point in the collective for some kind of cure-all. And no, it will not be a vaccine. When this virus began, the asteroid Ceres was conjunct the eclipse of January 10th. Now, no, the virus began percolating in Wuhan in November. I'm saying when the news of this virus began to really spread through the collective after this eclipse. Ceres is the goddess of nourishment, the goddess of the grain, the goddess of the harvest. She's known for foodborne illnesses, and in Wuhan, it was a food market where it started, so you could go with that. But she also would bring us curative remedies that come from herbs and gardens and nature. And I think that's a key here. I think that Panacea is going to bring us something unexpected. I don't think it's going to be Big Pharma's province to heal this, or nor the vaccine industry, but rather we might all just figure out that Mother Nature may produce a disease that could cause a problem and produce the remedy, the panacea as well. Whether you think this is a conspiracy, a biological agent, or a real virus, it's a real issue right now. So let's not go there. Let's talk about what we can do now. So I've got my little cheat sheet here in front of me to remind myself of what I wanted to tell you guys. I may share the chart, but a lot of my people don't like that. They're not astrologically like deeply wanting to look at it. So I'll think about that in a sec. So when this event happens, this new moon, which has a kind of a province of 30 days after or 28 days after it's influentially experiencing our reality. It is going to be a new moon, yes, conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. So there may be a healer element involved here, and it's warrior energy, hero energy, action hero, because it is an Aries. But it is also trine Panacea at the time of the moon. Panacea at 6 degrees, still retrograding in Leo, trining the new moon and Chiron at 4 degrees and then Chiron at 5. What does it tell me? Harmonious Jupiterian flow. Jupiter, trines are the nature of Jupiter, opportunity, growth, expansion, lock up, you know, the goodness. So it tells me that this moon is opening a doorway to straight to Panacea. Something's going to turn around in the next 30 days, guys. Trust me, trust me, trust me. I really feel it. The planets suggest it. The little known asteroids are useful in this sense. You know, if a client who channels Jesus and he's got the asteroid for Jesus on his midheaven, you know, you can't make this stuff up. These little asteroids are, the devil is in the details. That's what they're good for. And the details of this thing, whether Neptune caused it, you know, or not, or Neptune's a purveyor of the viral influx. And Neptune moves so darn slowly. You have to look for triggers around Neptune, not just Neptune. Otherwise, we'd have a long, like Neptune and Pisces, right? For the last 7 years, we haven't had a viral problem for 7 years. We can't just look at a big outer planet like Neptune. We have to look at the details. The details are the asteroids. So Panacea is trined by this moon. Tells me we're going to have a cure all. That's what Panacea stands for. Within 30 days, we'll begin to see the light of day, even as, yes, the numbers in the pipeline are escalating. Unfortunately, it's an exponential virus. And so we will see more and more people reporting as ill. And of course, many hidden people not experiencing extreme symptoms who are also ill with COVID-19. Hygieia is the goddess of hygiene as well as health protocols, and she's an asteroid, and she is sextile Panacea at this new moon. She's sitting at 6 degrees, and she's sextiling Panacea, and she is also in a sextile to the new moon. And you can almost think of it, you know, as a really cool link the dots. So Hygieia is important here. Hygieia is in the sign of Gemini, which is airborne stuff, and Gemini is the lungs, okay? It's an air sign, but Gemini is a sign in medical astrology that involves the lungs. So Hygieia is there trying to do some kind of magic for us during this moon. She's in the bound of Jupiter, which means that she's under the province of a benefic god. Even as Jupiter's a bit debilitated in Capricorn right now, sort of, he's a little bit, what's a good word, you know? He's hobbled there. He's still got Jupiterian goodness going. And so we can sort of count on that. Now, you know, we've got that transit of exalted Capricorn coming through the zodiac at the same time as this moon, coming into a conjunction on the 23rd with Pluto. And then later on the 31st of March with Saturn. I'm going to suggest martial law with those two aspects is very likely, particularly in the United States. So we'll also see an escalation of attempts to clamp down on the situation and control it. Key words here for what those things are co-present with in the fallout and the rollout after this new moon. But I'm hopeful on the medical front. So I'm going to just tell you guys, get your freaking vitamin C and start taking 5,000 milligrams a day, spaced out with lots of water. Don't take calcium. It's bad when you combine them for kidney stones. But, you know, a lot of people in the know have wiped the vitamin C off the shelves. But I'm just going to say, look, I'm sure it's going to be shown to be part of the panacea. Now, the last thing I want to say about the generality of this before we move on to the next stage is that, which is the descriptions for each sign and where your best hygiene is going to be and where your risk factor for getting sick is. So to pay attention, please hang in there for that. I want to say it's really hard to be here now, right? When we get stuff coming through that's really, like if someone pre-recorded their astrology sessions and it's already out there and they're all like, focus on your money, focus on your job, focus on your, your love life. I mean, we've kind of dropped it all. We all collectively are sitting deeply in this, and we're realizing what really matters. And, it's time with your family. I mean, even if it's by Skype or phone, connecting with old friends you haven't spoken to forever, social distancing and staying at home, sheltering in place. I always say hashtag stay the F home. Don't take a risk of transmitting this virus to someone who's immune compromised or elderly. Do your part. Be a part of we, not me. Hashtag we, not me. Alrighty, lecture aside, let's go to each sign where your hygiene is best utilized now for your protection, and where if you're undergoing a lack of protection, sanitizing your hands, wiping down surfaces, not touching your face, etc., hanging out with people coughing in large crowds, you're likely going to get ill. So let's go for it. So Aries, this is in your first house, right? This is a moon in your first house, but where is Hygieia sitting during that time? So the first house is your body and your actual identity as a being, but Hygieia is sitting in your third house of siblings, the neighborhood, like the neighborhood pub, close friends that you might just hang out with, the buddies in the neighborhood, and short-term trips and travel. So for you, Aries, do not take a short trip just up the coast or over to the next town, and do not hang out with your siblings right now. And this is a place where hygiene is most important. And of course, a lack of hygiene would potentially give you a chance to get ill in those parts of your life. So no short-term trips for you, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, and distance from even your siblings if you can. All right, and this goes for Sun, Moon, but particularly and most importantly, your rising sign. So if you don't know your rising sign, just go to astro.com, put your date of birth data in there. You have to have your time of birth for this to work, and you will know your rising sign. Alrighty, Taurians, this is Hygieia in your second house. Now, the moon itself is happening in your 12th house of dreams and reverie, but Hygiene and Hygieia in the second house of earned income. Well, earned income and possessions. So I'm saying for you Taurus energies out there, Sun, Moon, and Rising, be cognizant of things to do with how you make your money or handle money, because it's possessions or things you own. And second house rules what you put in your mouth. So don't put your fingers in your mouth, okay? It's throat and mouth. So be careful for those areas. Certainly if you're handling currency, wash your hands afterwards, and maybe just don't handle currency. Tap your credit card instead if you have that capability to do that. Gemini, the new moon is happening in your 11th house of friends and associates and benefactors, but where the actual Hygieia resides is in your first house. That's your physical form, that's your body, that's you. So you're your own worst enemy. So practice good hand sanitization, Geminis, Sun, Moon, and Risings, and please, please don't infect yourself. Alrighty, Cancer. I want to say you guys are having this in the 10th house. This is where the moon is. It's kind of a catalytic time for career over the next month. So you're doing well in that, but be careful for the 12th house way of acquiring a non-hygienic illness, like being careful with your hygiene and 12th house manners. Now, 12th house is hidden enemies. So please, if there's somebody who doesn't like you, stay clear of them. They just might spit in your, soup bowl when you're not looking. 12th house is karma. If you're going to get ill with this, no amount of hygiene is going to help right now, because Hygieia, who can normally help you out with sanitary hygienic practices, is in your house of your past lives. So you guys should just relax and just see what happens. 12th house is as well the sense of isolation itself. It's where we would go off to an ashram or sit alone, and we're being asked to self-isolate and self-quarantine. So Cancers, this is your chance. This is where, as a meme going around, you're staying home and loafing on the couch, you can save the world, don't blow your chance. For you Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, basically staying alone, isolating is your best practice. All right, for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, you guys need to really look at, so the actual new moon is happening in your 9th house of foreign travel and foreign lands and book publishing and God and wisdom and that. But your hygiene practices, where this Hygieia is sitting, it needs to be 11th house, and that's your friends. That's your social networks. Now, it can be broad online social networks, but can be also like, if you join a club or an organization, like you belong to a book club or a society or a group that gathers, do not gather. Of course, it makes sense right now. We're being told to social distance, but your vulnerable Achilles heel is going to be Leo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant people in that 11th house, where those friends who are benefactors may not benefit you by transmitting a viral illness to you now. So just take that note of caution. Virgo. So you guys are the queen and you're the OCD kings and queens of the world. So you're probably doing a lot of hand washing, Virgo, sun, moon, and ascendants. However, I want you to really think about as this new moon is happening in your 8th house of things that are already hidden, your deep unconscious, taboo subjects. I'm not too sure. I'll let you ponder that. Hygieia is sitting in your 10th house of your career. This is your reputation and status in the world, but it also kind of represents, like, you know, if if you're CEO at your office place. So if you're, going to a workplace, that could be your 10th house area. So for you Virgos, if you're not going to a workplace, you're unemployed, I mean, probably breathe a sigh of relief, but stay away from employers then and people from your workplace. So that kind of career zone is your hygiene zone. Now, I think, if you work from a laptop a lot or a cell phone, please sanitize your device. All right. Make sure that you clean that with an alcohol spray, like rubbing alcohol. 70% alcohol dries immediately on the surfaces. And that could be where your hygiene is best practice, Virgos. All right, moving on. Libra, Libra, gotta take a big sigh here. I'm talking quick, guys. Libra, you're getting this energy of the actual moon itself in your 7th house of long-term partnerships, marriages, and your clients. So that's going to unroll sort of a good energy field there for you over the next month, just by virtue of this moon being, a new moon, a new start, a fresh beginning. But here's the other thing. You guys really need to pay attention to that 9th house and do not travel to foreign lands. I mean, who is, right? The airplanes are completely empty, but for you guys particularly, do not go on a trip abroad or foreign lands. And if you have to get back home from some country you're stuck in, then just be extra careful, please, that you are super hygienic en route from some other country. You guys probably need to self-isolate based on the policy of your country. So I'm hoping that's true. So please self-isolate when you get home for 2 weeks, not to transmit the virus anywhere else. And anything else I want to say about you guys? The 9th house is education, university campuses and stuff. Most of them are closed, but just be cautious if in your state, if you live in the United States and they haven't closed the campus or the school or the elementary school, you could be a teacher, you could be studying there. Do not go, or be very cautious. It's your weakest link area. Alrighty, moving on to Scorpio. You guys are having this energy of the moon in your 6th house of right livelihood and hygiene and protocols for health anyway. But Hygieia is in your 8th house, and that's the house of things that are hidden from your view, things you can't really see. It's also things like governments and banks and taxes and other people's money. And because it's other people's money, and every time we hand currency back and forth because we spend a real dollar or we break a dollar and get some change, we're handling other people's money. So I'm going to just say, as a one-step cure-all for your precautionary note, Scorpio, don't handle other people's money right now. Be very hygienic. If you have to take it home and sterilize it. COVID lives on cardboard for 24 hours. I'm thinking paper money is probably pretty close to that. So put your money in a drawer for 24 hours and don't touch it. Coins are metal, and that has a much longer shelf life for the virus. So I don't remember how long, up to 9 days maybe. So again, be really cautious with other people's money in terms of hygiene, Hygieia, all right? And preventing contraction of an illness, particularly this virus right now. And then we go to Sagittarius. You guys are having the moon in your 5th house of romance, children, and creativity. Think about those themes for the next year ahead. I'm really more concerned with Hygieia in your 7th house. This is your long-term partnerships and your clients. So if you guys are working with clients in any way, massage therapists, counselors, one-on-one work, just stop for a month, give yourself a break, try your best not to do that. If you have to put on a mask or get them to wear a mask, just be very cautious about one-on-one interactions, Sagittarians. And as well, if you have a long-term partnership, like a spouse, actually make your spouse take extra diligent care so that you don't contract something from that person. A long-term friendship as well, where you see that person frequently. Capricorn. Okay, the moon's happening in the fourth house of home. Over the next 30 days, some things may unfold, changes in your home, hometown as well. Now, the actual Hygieia is in your sixth house, which is health protocols. So that's kind of really cool. That's great. It just says you'll be ramping up health protocols around preventing illness at this time over the next 30 days. However, it's also the workplace. It's like where you would go to work. It's your workstation if you work at home. It's your workplace, the office if you still have a job and go to work. So people are listening to this from all over the world. Some places have shut down workplaces. Some places haven't. Be extra diligent, Capricorns, in the workplace, not to contract a virus. So hand sanitizer, stay away from someone coughing, wash your hands all frequently, don't touch your face. You know the drill. Aquarius, I'm an Aquarius rising, sun, moon, and ascendants. I have an ascendant in Aquarius. We have a new moon in our third house of short-term trips. I'm not taking any, but education and travel. I mean, I teach, I speak, I communicate. I'm doing a lot of that lately. So I'll be doing more of that as this new moon kicks off that energy in my third house. And I am going to launch a course soon. So you'll see that coming out, a free one that's coming forth to help people in this time of stress, basically, and anxiety and fear. But what also I'd like to say is that we Aquarius risings have to be attentive to our fifth house of children, of lovers. Okay, so I don't have a lover and my child is isolated, both of them from me in different cities. But for other Aquarius rising, sun, moon, and ascendants, don't hang with your kids if you don't have to. I mean, they're your particularly hygienic source of weakest link. So be careful. If you do hang with your kids, be very cautious around them. Wash your hands, don't touch your face, ask them to wash their hands religiously, and ask them to stay home. I was just talking to a friend in Vancouver and his daughter's still going out and partying. I mean, give me a break, okay? And he's an autoimmune compromised father. We need to actually rein our kids in, we Aquarius risings right now. They are our problem area. If we're going to get sick, it might be through our children. And lastly, and it's so sweet, my daughter said, I said, honey, are you missing me? She's quarantining herself in my Montreal apartment where I'm up in Northern Canada staying with my sister. And she said, Mom, don't worry. I don't want to get you infected anyway. I wouldn't want to spend time with you. She's only 20. Yeah, because, you know, I'm old. I'm 57. I'm in a higher risk category. Oh, she's so sweet that way. I love that she thought of me. The last sign is Pisces. So Pisces, the moon is in your second house this month. So earnings, income, making money is going to increase. Your possessions and resources and financial dealings are going to get better for you in the month ahead. Hygieia is in your fourth house of home. Your greatest risk is your home, like where you're living, your apartment, your house. Now, why? Do you have people coming in and out of your home? Be careful, Pisces, sun, moon, and ascendant. Sanitize all surfaces. Get your 1 part bleach to 9 parts water, spray and start spraying the house. I mean, we all can't buy hand sanitizer, and bleaches will do the job. So for all you Pisces out there, sun, moon, and ascendants, Hygieia is trying to help you not get COVID by being present for the next 30 days in the house of your home. So please be careful. Thank you guys for listening. It's hard to laugh, sometimes hard to smile, but we have to sometimes look at this and say what good is trying to happen. We're on an unsustainable course as a humanity and a collective on this planet. And whether Mother Nature is giving us a wake-up call or not, I don't know, but we need to start thinking about things differently. Lastly, I have my website below. Go check it out. I have a sale going on right now for $97 for your Lucky Stars reading. It was supposed to be for St. Patty's Day, but it's still up. So go ahead and grab it if you like. I have a one question burning reading I put out this week for only $35, and check that out as well. You have one question. I'll give you a 15-minute reading using horary and my tarot cards. A divination tool of horary is to cast a chart based on the time you ask the question. That's really affordable at $35. I just mail you the recording because most people are coming to me with single questions in the era of COVID, less concerned about discovering the magic they're born for, or even the fabulous year ahead forecast. So I'm catering to what I'm seeing my clients ask me for. And if you're not a client, please become one. Like, subscribe, and share, please. Thank you so much for listening. And I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks, or if not sooner. But at least in a couple of weeks. I might put a video out about Saturn going into Aquarius, and I might put a video out about my perspective of the year ahead based on the Aries ingress. If I do those, they'll be out in the next 7 days. Thanks for listening, guys. Mwah. Stay safe. stay hygienic.